this time, I'd like to call the July 9th, 2013 Board of Supervisors meeting to order. I'd like for everybody please to stand as Reverend Nick and Tripp of the Wythe Seventh-day Adventist Church gives our invocation and remain standing while I lead us in the pledge.
Let us pray. Almighty God, it is indeed an honor and a pleasure to be here amongst men and women that call upon God for assistance. God, I ask you to bless them with great wisdom and courage, and may all their decisions be done to your glory and to the honor and good of this city and this county. For I pray in Jesus' name, amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, let me welcome you to our meeting tonight. We have citizens' time designated at this time on the agenda. We have 3 citizens that would like to speak. First one is Mrs. Myers. Mrs. Myers, you want to please come forward?
On behalf of the Holback family, I was wondering if there have been any meetings scheduled. As of 6:30 tonight, they have not been. There's been no correspondence to them or no phone calls or whatever.
I'm not aware of anything that's on you want to write down. I know there was been some letters sent to the House of Delegates and Senators.
I was contacted by VDOT. They're in the process of setting up a meeting with Delegate Carrico. Delegate Crockett Stark. She's they're in Richmond this week. And the earliest day that it could happen is next Wednesday.
Okay, so should we call before or you're going to notify?
I assume when we know, we'll notify everybody that wants to attend.
Okay, thank you so much.
Ranger Brewster? Huh? Brewer, excuse me.
I'm here to respond to the comments that was made on June the 28th, that this housing issue had been settled. Well, I'm here to tell you it wasn't. We had asked for an appeal, and it wasn't. That's right. If you don't believe me, go over to the courthouse and ask Hayden Horney. And we do have a letter from Hayden Horney about it, that we had asked for an appeal, and it wasn't. At that time, Archie Campbell was controlling everything. Every direction we'd take with it, he'd stop it. But now, since 2006, it's been members of this county that has stopped it. Because we have been through Richmond, trying to get it settled there. And Richmond tells us they get phone calls from here telling them that it's been settled. Well, it hasn't. And I do know for a fact, somebody in this county in 2008 was in Richmond at the public safety office telling them that this had been settled. Well, it hasn't been settled. And I brought some notes. I'll go over some of them. When Keith Blankenship was the Commonwealth attorney, he put it before the grand jury because he saw fraud. Well, what I can tell you there, what happened there, a member of the sheriff's department, I won't call no names, but I know who it is, made a phone call to Archie Campbell that it was going before the grand jury. Again, interference, it got stopped. And I went to back to Keith Blankenship about it. And he couldn't, he said, that explains it. He said, I could not understand why they were not seeing fraud. But you know, that court bailiff, he'd have brought charges against him for obstruction of justice, but he didn't. And what he told us, well, it's best that it got settled in Richmond. I said, okay, help us get it settled in Richmond. He said, well, I can't. That I'm going to help my friend. That would have been Mark Early. He was the Attorney General. He was running for governor. Boy, talk about getting involved with the good old boy network. We sure did. And that's what it's been. Every direction we take to get something done about this, and everybody admits that we've been done wrong, that we've been screwed. But nobody doing anything about it to make a wrong right. And we have been through Richmond, making trips to Richmond since 1995. And we've been coming up here to this Board of Supervisors meeting longer than that, over this. That's right. And it's just the good old boy network. And I will say, the Commonwealth Attorney, Tommy Baird, yeah, when we were in Richmond the first time, only thing that we were hearing, that they were telling us, well, Tommy Baird, he says this. Tommy Baird and Archie Campbell done everything they could to keep us from getting anything done about this, to keep it tied up. And I will also tell you that this has come from lawyers. See, lawyers never would represent us. They made that plain, that we weren't going to go after government. That's right. But we got rights to justice. And we're going to get justice one way or the other over this, because this is not our fault. I didn't build it, didn't pass the inspection on it. And one other thing I would tell you. The bank where this loan went through, there was bank fraud. How we found that out? From the FDIC. They shut that bank down. And there was some people at that bank that was prosecuted. And they sent it to the FBI in Richmond. The FDIC did. That's right. Because what they were seeing was bank fraud. And they also said that this is a little different than anything we have ever seen. This involved the bank, and it involved local government. And then, by golly, that got stopped. When they sent it there, they were going to see to it we got justice. And along about that time, there was a tap on our phone. That's how all the information was being leaked out. We reported it, but it didn't do no good. Again, that good old boy network. And let's see, we continued to make phone calls. Still are. Made them today. Got phone calls today, too. And I made one phone call. It was to the Attorney General's office. And they told us that you need to contact FEMA. And I said to myself, why in the world would I call FEMA? This is not a natural disaster. This is man-made. That's right. Well, I did, just to see what would happen. And you know what? When I called, they sent me right back to the state of Virginia and Wythe County. They told me that Wythe County has an emergency management office. Call there. I said, why should I? I called, let me just see what would happen. Let's just see what they'll say. Well, and I did, and lo and behold, it turns out to be the Ike Davidson's office. I call. I tell him what it was all about. And he tells me, I'm headed over to the assistant county administrator's office. Would you call over there in a few minutes? I hesitated on it because they'd sent me right back where the problem had started. Well, I did. I called, and the assistant county administrator, he comes on the phone, and I tell him what it was all about. And then, you don't know what he told me? Do not call this office again. That's what he said. I said, okay. I will tell the ones that told me to call your office. And that was FEMA. And I did. I called FEMA back and I told them exactly what the local had to say about it. And I will also let you know, well, Mark Warner, when he was the governor, we met with him. And we told him all about this, what was going on here. And what he told us, that he was going to get this settled. He turned it over to his people to get it settled. But then he didn't know he had somebody in his office that he couldn't trust. The chief of staff stopped it. And then the trail leads right back to Wythe County, wanting it stopped. That's right. Leads right back here to this county. And I'm tired of it. And I won't reveal the name of the person that told me this. And I can take them for their word. The one that said it. They seem to know what's going on in this county. They told me that my problem lied right here in this county, that something's got to be done about this county, that they all covered for each other. And he said, what they are doing to you all is wrong. What you all been put through, you shouldn't have been put through it. But they also told me that something has got to be done about the county administrator, that he's your problem. Why you can't get anything done. So if nothing has been done about it, if y'all don't want to do nothing, just sit on it, be part of the obstruction of justice, that's fine with me, because we'll go higher with it. Because we're not going to stop this. We have not been, this is not right, what's happened here. It's not our fault. We had the case against everybody when this happened to us. Against this county, contractor, and the bank. And lawyers wouldn't do it. That's right. That's what we've been put through. No human being should be put through that. And then when you stand up here and give the Pledge of Allegiance, justice for all, no. There's been no justice here. It's just been a cover-up. That's all it's been. Just that good old boy network, social club. And that's not right. That's not the kind of government we should be having. When you people took office and running your campaign to get elected, by where you're seated right now, you've run your campaign on that you wanted to get in there and work for the people. But none of you are. You're doing nothing. I have no more to say.
Our next person to sign up is Joshua Stitt. Joshua?
Evening, Board, Chairman. I'm president out at Barron Springs Volunteer Fire Department, and I'm here representing our fire department tonight. Along with me, I have Assistant Chief David Quessenberry and Captain Paul Hillenberg. Some things we wanted to bring to the board's attention that we feel pose a potential risk to public safety in Wythe County that's come up recently, and some other issues as well. Recently, on June 26th, there was a meeting for the fire chiefs, the fire board. The chief in Barron Springs didn't get notification of that meeting. The meeting took place without his being there. Feel that it would be more prudent to make sure that the chiefs do get the message and that they are there to represent the part of the community in this county that they serve. Feel that that really needs to be addressed. Another issue that members of our department are concerned with and would like to know, recently there was a new map drawn with designations for each fire department. They would like to know who drew that map, which company or who came up with those designations for those areas. And then the issues with that map, it's pretty obvious to look at the map that certain people were asked their opinions. Their department's coming for second and third help in some of these areas. They're coming further than other departments are. There are closer departments than who's supposed to be coming to help, if you understand how I'm putting that. To put it simple, the map should be looked at, and whoever's closest is whoever's closest. You know, when it's public safety, it's public safety. When somebody's life is at risk, we need to consider that. And whether it's within this county or from outside the county, if they're closest and the department needs help, it's whoever's closest. If they still need help, it's the next closest, just like any other organization. And I know there's other concerns with other departments as far as how the districts were redrawn. One of the big ones that we have in our area is obviously going to be Interstate 77. The area we used to cover was Interstate 77 from the Carroll County line onto the New River Bridge. We felt that was a pretty good district line there. We can make it to that area a little faster than the department who covers that now. All of Interstate 77 was moved to be covered by another department. However, our department still carries on past Poplar Camp, past the gas station, and on up past there for other calls, just not on the interstate. You know, if somebody's in an accident there in that area, it's more prudent to get the department who can get there fastest. And we feel that Barron Springs can get there quicker than the other department at that point, at least on the northbound side of Interstate 77. Southbound is understandable. Doing to have to hit the crossover at the 28-mile marker and come back south, it takes a little bit more time than coming south to begin with. But going northbound, we can certainly make it to that area faster. If there's a vehicle fire or somebody trapped in a vehicle, it's prudent that we get there, whoever can get there quickest. And that's just a few of the items that we would like to have some answers for. And I'm not sure if the board can answer those tonight, or if they'll need time to come up with responses to those.
Well, I know, John, the maps are being relooked at.
We have a fire and rescue committee meeting on Monday, but what you're talking about is exactly the purpose of the meetings that were, right now, the fire chiefs and the captains of the rescue squads form an advisory committee that will meet on a regular basis to discuss issues that just like you're talking about. So anything that you know that needs to come up, you know, the chief just needs to you know, to bring it up. Now I don't know, you know, why you know the chief. Yeah, or I don't know how we notified you know, people about that initial meeting, but those meetings are going to take place on a regular basis. And we also
one way to make them aware of it so that they can represent it.
Yeah, and we also know that as we go on, that there are going to be things that we have to tweak and have to change. Matter of fact, there were some changes that that we initiated that came out of that meeting that we had. You know, some things that you know, just it made more sense after people talked about it. And so what you're bringing up is exactly the sort of thing that will be brought up in those advisory board meetings.
Okay. Another thing we were concerned with, and I'm not sure if that was brought up in that meeting or not as well, paging for meetings. We were informed recently that they would not set pagers for meetings. or anything along those lines. They want us to do it by cell phone or call people. Well, if you've never been to Barron Springs, which I'm sure y'all probably have, cell phone service there is spotty at best. I don't care who your service is, Verizon, US Cellular. Getting that message out to people is difficult for us. And the most surefire way to do that would be to have a page set off. And I know our dispatchers are busy. I know they've got a lot on their plate, but for us to be able to function and have members show up for meetings or work details or fundraisers, the only way to really be able to do that in an efficient manner would be to have pagers set off.
Well, and I can answer that.
Okay.
Since it's a consolidated dispatch with Wythe County Town of Retreat and the town of Wytheville,
Right.
it is going to be a true 911 center. It will not, they will not be dispatching for, for other things. I know that the sheriff's department always kind of did it as a courtesy. But when we went into the new 911 center, it's a true emergency center. And so I don't know exactly how you work that out, but we will just be making emergency dispatches from that center.
To my understanding, we don't have the capability to set those pages off from our fire department. That wasn't installed.
How do you all communicate with one another?
Right now, we've been having to send texts, but you're not getting a very good response because people won't get the texts until hours later sometimes, or sometimes not at all. You could call home phones, but again, at best, you're going to be, you're looking at 28, 30 members. That's a lot of phone calls for one person to have to make every time we want to have a meeting. And they're set at specific times, but upon occasion, you'll have a meeting that's a little bit more urgent. You call it a different time frame.
Well, we, of course, we'll have your comments in the minutes so that we'll have access to those. And Monday morning at 8 o'clock, the Fire and Rescue Committee meets, and so we'll talk about all the things that you've brought up tonight.
All right. I appreciate the board's time. I just
Well,
hope that
thank you
you'll
for bringing it to us, yeah.
take the time and consider that for public
Okay.
safety. So, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the citizens that had signed up. Anyone else would like to speak before the board?
I just have one other comment. If we have one of our residents that's had a 20-plus year ongoing problem, doesn't it seem appropriate that it should be addressed?
It's been addressed.
It's
in
been
the court
addressed.
system. And the court system found
She won the case.
she won the
and
case.
settled.
She won the case, got a settlement. The appeal that they talked about was not filed on time. It doesn't have anything to do with the county, Ms.
County
Myers.
administration has nothing.
So it's a dead issue for this lady?
Well, as far as the county goes,
It's the court system.
Well, it's
yeah.
the court system, but still, if there were egregious errors made by a department, isn't the county somehow insured to help cover? I mean, I've heard you give, when somebody's cow gets hurt on the road, you guys have supplemented the farmers and this and that and the other thing, and so it just seems like.
But she has a recourse. I mean, she sued. And she won the case and she settled. She took the money. And when you do that, and she appealed it, but she didn't appeal it within time. I do know that too.
So there was a transfer of money in this
Yes.
this negotiation?
She won the case.
She won the case. She accepted the settlement.
Okay, well, see, that wasn't brought up. So.
No, ma'am, I know.
It might have been a hint when she says she's contacted the governor, and the governor says this, and she's contacted Washington and
No, it's just
FEMA.
like,
I mean, those people.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, at this time, we will move to minutes of the previous meeting. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as presented.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, now, is any additions or corrections from any member?
There's one correction, and I don't really know where it is. It's about the date of the trash pickup. It was this past Saturday on the 6th when it started. I don't know when it was in the minutes. I'm not finding it.
Okay. It's probably down under the sheriff, wasn't it?
It began on June 29th.
Yes, and it needs to be changed to
Oh, as per the email.
July the
Yeah.
6th.
Page 23.
Page 23, okay. Are there any other additions or corrections? Seeing none, we'll vote on the motion as amended. All in favor of passing the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We'll move to payment of invoices.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we pay the invoices.
All right, I have a motion to pay the invoices. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any invoice any board member would like to discuss? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. Mr. Hall?
Aye. Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
And aye. Thank you. Mr. Dalton, do you know of any old business?
No, sir.
Any board member know of any old business?
I'd just like to comment, Stephen sent an email, the trash pickup went wonderful. They picked up around 50 bags of trash. They worked 10 hours. They got most of 52. I think they lacked a couple of miles from where they hadn't mowed. And it worked fine.
Stephen, you know where they work Saturday coming?
No, I do not, and that's why I sort of email out so we can sort of give them a recommendation. Mr. Reeves has given me a recommendation for a Chapman Road area and not anywhere else.
They're working on Chapman Road at the exits this coming Saturday.
He'll stop short of his yard.
The jail,
Now, they come all the way in, are they gonna start in Whitfield and go out, or they gonna come in?
I thought that was where they're supposed to drop the trash at, Joe.
the regional jail crew is here this week. They went on Route 17 from the interstate and came all the way down 52. They'll be down Castleton Road tomorrow, I believe it is. And they will be 2 or 3 other roads, whatever Stephen has sent out. They're working here this week too, so there's all kinds of trash pickup going on.
The sheriff talked to JB this morning, and he told him he wanted Chapman Road from the town to 77 and on 11 from the town to 77 picked up this Saturday. And JB said something about they like 3 miles on 52 of finishing. I don't know which way they're headed.
But that's where I know we got plenty of inmates working on trash.
Is there just going to be a press release sent out?
It already has, and in fact, it's been picked up by a local news station, and Mr. Farley will be working with them on coverage of that. And I mentioned to Mr. Dalton that would like to add Progress Park area in there as well. There's a couple of bad areas in there, and we need to make sure we're keeping that area clean. So.
All right. Anybody else?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I have something, I guess, is going in there old bit. One of the fire chiefs asked me if there was any ATL money left.
Must be aid to localities. Must be fire funds.
We got a check on the 1st of July for the second piece of last year's money, the $8,000 some dollars. So Ike is working that up to go to contact the organizations to send in the receipts that he can send the money in.
Go to the chief. You want to answer?
Okay, is there any new business? Mr. Dalton, you know of any new business?
No, sir. I know that Wythe County's got a team playing out at Asia Park right now in the Dixie quarterfinals or semifinals.
Which
or whatever.
one's left, east or west?
Both.
Both? Okay.
Each played at 4 o'clock, and I can't tell you who won that. West is playing at 7:30 or 8 o'clock.
All right. We have no more business at this time. We will adjourn the meeting.